points. Petter Solberg has never won on tarmac, but his confidence was so high, anything's possible. However, it all went wrong in San Remo. As he was heading back to service, his Subaru ground to a halt with a fuel problem. It was a long push to service, but Solberg and Mill's efforts were in vain. Retirement for the Norwegian. Carlos Sainz was going well, with Burns way down the leaderboard and Solberg out. He just needed to go steady. Trouble-free run saw him finish fourth with more valuable points. As expected, it was Sainz's teammate Sebastian Loeb who set the pace. Marco Martin was determined to give him a fight, but autumn leaves clogged up his air intake, overheating the engine. Emergency repairs in service saw Martin come out fighting. Back on stage, he proved just what he could do, setting 2 fastest times. But Loeb rose to the challenge. He took the next 2 stages, ending the first day 2.5 minutes ahead. Day 2, though, belonged to Martin. He was fastest on all of the day's stages, a remarkable performance which closed the gap to 43 seconds. A great fight was in prospect for the final day. But it was over before it began. An electrical problem meant Martin left service late, earning a 30-second time penalty and almost certainly meaning he had finished behind Loeb. But there was more bad luck to come for the Estonian when the heavens opened. Thinking it would be drier out on the stages, most drivers chose slick tyres, but not local man Gilles Panizzi. He took an intermediate, and it was a gamble that would have an unbelievable reward. Because when the cars got to the mountains, the roads were very wet. Driving in these conditions on slick tyres is like driving on an ice rink. Marcus Gronholm was first to find out just how bad it was. He was gunning for third when he had this smash. Any hope of retaining his title was over. Now all Peugeot's hopes rested with Panizzi, and on intermediate tyres, he left the opposition standing. Martin just couldn't hold Panizzi off. Out of nowhere, the Frenchman snatched second place. Bad news for Ford, but great news for Peugeot. But there was no question of who would win. Loeb had built such a big lead, he couldn't be caught. Carefully guiding his Citroën to safety, he took a well-deserved victory. 3 out of 3 wins on tarmac, with 2 tarmac rallies to go. Loeb is now looking really good for the world title. 7th place for Richard Burns and maximum points for Loeb means the Peugeot Drivers' Championship lead is cut to 2 points. The Mediterranean island of Corsica is home to the next round of the WRC. Sometimes called the Rally of 10,000 Corners, this is a tight and twisty tarmac test. There was drama before the rally even began. Petter Solberg smashed up his Subaru on shakedown. With the car and his pride dented, his mechanics had to work through the night to get his battered car into the competition. But it wasn't a great start for Solberg. Early on, his gearbox developed a problem, another headache for his exhausted mechanics, who had to do one of the trickiest fixes in the sport in just 20 minutes. Meanwhile, there was a familiar battle taking place up ahead. Carlos Sainz settled into third, but it was his teammate Sebastian Loeb who was gunning for the lead. Marco Martin was in front for a while, but a spin lost him the lead, and his rally eventually ended with this dramatic off. Loeb was in front, but there was still a Ford on his tail. This time it belonged to the young Belgian Francois Duval. And by the end of the first day, he was just 4 seconds off his Citroën rival. But day 2 would prove to be a completely different ballgame. Overnight, the rains had come, and once again, this would be a day won and lost in tyre choice. The only driver who welcomed the news was Petter Solberg. His Pirellis were best suited for the conditions, and he knew a remarkable comeback could be on the cards. On the day's first stage, he jumped up 2 places to 5th. All the good work Sebastian Loeb had done on the first day was undone in the rain on the second. The beached Citroën took over 10 minutes to get back on the road, and there was no chance Loeb could leave with points. Francois Duval now held the rally lead, and all he had to do was hold off Carlos Sainz, who was just behind. But more threatening still, Petter Solberg, who continued leaping up the leaderboard and was now into third. It was a superb drive from the Norwegian. First he took Sainz, and then Duval. Solberg took his first tarmac win, and it was all down to his mechanics. So confirmation then of Solberg's amazing win, while Sainz took Duval for second. Richard Burns only managed 8th in Corsica and loses the championship lead to Carlos Sainz. Spain is Carlos Sainz country. No other sportsman is more adored by his home fans, and thousands turn out just to watch him on this spectacular event. This is a tarmac rally like no other. These Spanish roads are wide and flowing, and sparks fly as corners are cut. Petter Solberg was the early pace setter, but his lead was short-lived. An alternator problem means he left service late and got a 50-second time penalty, leaving him with another huge comeback on his hands. Tyres ended Marcus Gronholm's chances, who'd chosen too soft a compound for the early stages and was left with no grip whatsoever. In the other Peugeot, Richard Burns was only too aware that his title chances were in serious danger. Once more, he was off the pace and then off the road. No points for Burns. In the third Peugeot, Gilles Panizzi was showing his greatest form of the year. His job is to salvage Peugeot's manufacturer's chances, and it was looking good. The tarmac expert really got into his rhythm and was challenging the leaders, who included Carlos Sainz. He had a great first day and was second, but then he changed his settings. That spoiled his feeling. He lost time, enough for Martin to take second, and then for Panizzi to relegate him to fourth. Once again, it was Loeb who was rally leader and on to take the outright lead in the championship. But there was no chance to relax, because the dogfight between Martin and Panizzi was hotting up so much they were eating into his lead. Marco Martin was finding it difficult. His neck was very painful after his crash in Corsica. He found himself entering the final day not chasing the lead, but trying to keep Panizzi at bay. Then it was all change on the last day when the rain came lashing down. Great news for Solberg, who seized the chance to make his comeback. He started the day out of the points and ended it 5th. His title hopes very much alive. Now Panizzi was hoping for the kind of rainy comeback that brought him second in San Remo. In fact, second would be gifted to him. Martin's brakes failed, and it was easy for Panizzi to take him. Now his sights were set on Loeb, who did Panizzi a big favour. He chose the wrong tyre. It was a matter of honour for this particular Frenchman to take a tarmac win this year. He seized his chance and took Loeb on the final stage for victory. Panizzi claims 10 points for victory, while Loeb has to settle for 8. But that's enough to give him the championship lead. So this is it, the climax to the 2003 World Rally Championship, Wales Rally GB. Before the event began, there was shocking news. Richard Burns had to pull out of the event for medical reasons. A bitter disappointment for the man who led the championship for most of the season, and a huge upset for his thousands of fans, who also suffered the heartache, saying goodbye to 4-time world champion and rally legend Tommy Mäkinen. And it wasn't long into the event until the championship turned into a 2-horse race. Carlos Sainz had a big smash and his first retirement of the year. There was to be further revelations back at service when the Spaniard announced his retirement at the end of next year. Although Marcus Gronholm's pace notes were clearly marked logs, he still hit them. Retirement once again for the outgoing world champion. Marco Martin also came to these gravel stages hotly tipped to win, but it was the Focus that was hot. The engine overheated on the first morning and the Estonian was out. That left Sebastian Loeb and Petter Solberg fighting it out for victory and the championship. Loeb took the early lead, but Solberg thrilled his fans by snatching it back on the first afternoon. Behind them, there was a great battle going on between two rally legends. Tommy Mäkinen was heading for the podium. He battled to hold off the WRC's other departing star, Colin McRae. Although Colin may not be going for good, 2004 will be a sabbatical year for the Scot. But on his last rally for a while, and he was really enjoying the fight with Tommy. He had a flawless run until the very last stage, when a puncture shredded his tyre, forced him to stop to change the wheel. Worrying times for the Citroën team. Hearing the news broke Tommy Mäkinen's concentration and nearly ended his rally. McRae made it safely to the end, and that meant Citroën were guaranteed the manufacturer's title. Next over the line, Tommy Mäkinen. Knowing he'd been lucky, he was just pleased to be on the podium. Loeb was so far behind Solberg, the only hope the Frenchman had to become world champion was for Solberg to make a mistake or have a problem. It was a nervous ride through Markham Park, and Solberg finished the rally and the championship in style, winning the stage and becoming the new world champion.
Go to the control, man.
Petter Solberg, you are this year's World Rally Champion. How do you feel?
It's incredible. I'm completely knackered. It's been a very hard rally, a very hard year. We had so many ups and so many downs, and it's just very good fun for the whole team and Subaru, Pirelli. And at the same time, Tommy, his last rally, and came third. I'm very, very happy for him, very happy. And this victory, I think, is for Tommy for his last, because he has been an incredible friend for me.
And what about all these fans? It's just superb here. What a great atmosphere.
It's so many thousand people around, you know, and so much good support. Thank you, everybody. This has been my biggest dream in the whole world. And to my brother, who's sitting at home there in studio, you know. I did it, Henning.
What did it feel like crossing that finishing line?
I don't know. I tried to forget the whole World Championship the whole week. I got it back a little bit this morning, you know, started to think a little bit about it, but I got my feet down on the floor. I must say, this is the best ever in my whole life, after my son, Oliver.
Well done.
Thank you, thank you.
Solberg wins his 4th rally of the year and deserves the title of World Rally Champion. And this is how the championship finishes. Solberg wins by just 1 point from Loeb, while the retiring Tommy Mäkinen ends his last ever season in 8th. And great performances from the 3 Citroën drivers see the French team take the manufacturer's title in their first ever full WRC season. And there was more celebrating for Petter Solberg later on that day. He was awarded the very first Inmarsat Star of the Season award. 2003 has been one of the best seasons ever, but the WRC promises to get even better. Next year there's more rounds and the competition promises to be more fierce. It all starts again in Monte Carlo next January. Make sure you don't miss it.